Hey everybody, today is April 12th. I'm Mr. Sheridan. This is Zoology. Welcome back from spring break, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day and excited to be back, at least online, as we get back into the swing of things with school. So what we are going to do today is we are going to start with our nutrition unit. And the first thing that I need everyone to do is go into your Google Classroom and see that you have two assignments that are due by tomorrow. Excuse me, one of them's due tomorrow. The other one is our nutrition vocabulary. And I need all of you to have this open right now, because as I go through this presentation, we're going to go through these 5 vocabulary words that we're going to start with today. So we're going to add to this list as we go through our nutrition unit so that you have a comprehensive list of vocabulary that you should know for our summative test, which will be at the end of the unit. So I need everybody to jump into your Google Classroom and make sure that you have this nutrition vocabulary sheet open. It looks like this. These are the 5 words that we are going to define today so that you'll have those going. You'll notice that the other thing that you have in here is an assignment that is due tomorrow. We will get into that at the end of the presentation. So if nobody has any questions before we get started, we're going to jump into this. I did not create this entire presentation. It was created by some students at Sam Houston State, and I've modified it a little bit to kind of work on to make sure that we that it's tailored to what we're going to end up doing for this unit. But I need everybody to be following along, please. I need you to have your nutrition vocabulary sheet open so that you can define those 5 words as we go through our presentation today. So our objectives for our class today is to be able to identify vocabulary words related to the digestive system and to review the digestive system of 2 types of digestive systems that exist in livestock species. And we'll get into what those are as we go through our presentation today. So these are the 5 vocabulary words that you have. They are the same ones that are listed on your sheet. So you need to have those, and we will define those as we go through here today. So let's start with nutrient. A nutrient is a substance or group of substances of similar chemical structures that aid in the support of life. So a nutrient is a substance or group of substances of similar chemical structures that aid in the support of life. Okay, so we're going to add these into our list in case we have some students that miss a day. We can get them updated as we go through. Yeah, that's why. Okay. Does anyone need more time with the definition of nutrient? All right, then we're going to move on to nutrition. What is nutrition? That's what we're going to cover in this entire unit. Nutrition is the science focused on how animals bring in and utilize feed through various processes and metabolic activities. This is the kind of language that we need to be able to use at this point in your maturity curves and your academic careers. So we're not going to give you an explanation of what all that means, because if there are vocabulary words in here that you're struggling with, please let me know. Happy to define those. But I'm also not going to translate just for the sake of it. Nutrition is the science focus on how animals bring in and utilize feed through various processes and metabolic activities. Does anyone need more time with nutrition? Okay, here we go. Here's our gastrointestinal tract. The gastrointestinal tract is a tube that allows feedstuffs to be stored, digested, absorbed, and excreted. So this gastrointestinal tract is the tube that leads from our mouth to your rectum. We'll get that one loaded in here as well. So your gastrointestinal tract is a tube that allows feedstuffs to be stored, digested, absorbed, and excreted. Does anyone need more time with gastrointestinal tract? All right, then here we go. All right, so we have two major digestive systems. The first is called a ruminant digestive system. And some examples of this would be cattle, sheep, goats, deer, and elk are the animals that have ruminant digestive systems. They have a complex stomach with a more simple intestinal system. So this one we're talking about cattle, sheep, and goats mostly for the purposes of livestock, but also deer and elk are included in this. There are some other animals that are included, like bison, also are ruminants. Humans and pigs are non-ruminants or monogastrics, meaning they have one section of their stomach. They have simple stomachs, but have a more extensive intestinal system than ruminants. So we're going to group these into, and this is kind of how we're going to focus our nutrition. We're either going to be talking about monogastrics or ruminants. And this is where we need to define these terms. Okay, so ruminants or polygastrics, as opposed to monogastrics. Poly meaning multiple, gastrics meaning stomachs, multiple stomachs. And in fact, it's not that they have 4 different stomachs, it's that they have 4 compartments of their stomach. So we're going to look at that a little more specifically as we go through here. But ruminants or polygastrics have 4 stomach compartments and simple intestines. This is what I would like for you to put in your vocabulary sheet for ruminant digestive system. Okay, so ruminants or polygastrics have 4 stomach compartments and simple intestines. Okay, so then our non-ruminants or monogastrics, again, we're talking about pigs and people, or there's other examples of monogastrics, there's lots of them, but that they have mono, meaning one, gastrics, meaning stomachs, but in this case, we're talking about one stomach compartment. So non-ruminants have one stomach compartment. Let me see if yeah, here we go. So yeah, we want that whole thing. So non-ruminants or monogastrics have one stomach compartment and more complex intestinal or intestines. So non-ruminants have one stomach compartment and more complex intestines. Okay. So you should have your vocabulary finished, but stay with me because we are going to get to your actual assignment here at the end of this. So we've talked about the two major components or two major types of digestive systems, ruminants and non-ruminants, or ruminants and monogastrics. So here's a picture, or an illustration, I should say, of a ruminant digestive system. This happens to be a cow, could be a sheep, goat, or deer, elk, bison, that sort of thing. But what they have are 4 compartments of their stomach, and that's what we're going to focus on. So we have their esophagus, just like us, but that is going to empty into their reticulum. And we're going to start talking about, for most of you, for tomorrow, just so you know, we either have testing here in the school, or seniors, you won't be here. So on Wednesday, we'll talk more about ruminant digestion and how food is going to travel from their esophagus into their reticulum, and then into this giant compartment, which is called the rumen. And then it leaves there, goes through the omasum, and then through the abomasum, and through the small and then large intestine. They do have small and large intestines as well. So as another illustration here, this is the a simple illustration of a swine's or a pig's digestive system. There's only one major difference here that between this and humans, which is that they do have a small cecum. We'll talk about the cecum, what its function is, but it's going to be very similar to what our large intestine's purpose is as well. And obviously their cecum is just right at the front of it. It does the same thing. So in our digestive system, and this goes for both monogastrics and polygastrics, or ruminants and non-ruminants, we start with our mouth, which is our prehension tool, which allows us to grasp food. Our salivary glands secrete juices that contain enzymes to start the process of chemical digestion, or breaking down those food particles into products that we can actually use. Then we actually have the chewing of food, which is mechanical digestion, where we're actually breaking that down into smaller pieces with our teeth. Most livestock have a lot less teeth than we do. They do much less mechanical digestion than we do, especially when we're talking about ruminants. Now, the esophagus is the muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach, and it does that through peristalsis, or if you want to say peristaltic movement. And what that is, if you take your hand and you squeeze one finger at a time, this is going to kind of give you an idea of what peristalsis looks like. It's your body's natural reaction. So if that was looking like this, that's what your esophagus does. It actually involuntarily moves food from your mouth down to your stomach. And then we have the lovely reverse peristalsis, which hopefully we don't have to deal with that very often. So our small intestine is what comes after our stomach. So in either ruminants or non-ruminants, both have a small intestine. It's a long coiled tube connecting our stomach to our large intestine. This is where the remaining digestion and absorption is going to take place. So very, very important, is particularly in monogastric digestion, our small intestine is going to do a lot of that digestion. And the way that it does that is it increases the amount of surface area, therefore the amount of it increases the amount of absorption that can take place with villi, which are the little finger-like projections that come off of this lining of your small intestine. If you don't have those villi, you can run into a number of different digestive issues, but they increase the surface area and absorption in animals. So, and then we have our large intestine. It looks a little bit different in pigs as it does humans. They have a cecum, which is connected to their colon, and then rectum, which is a little different than humans. This is where mostly the only thing that your large intestine is doing is absorbing water and a little bit of vitamins and minerals. Are basically the only thing that is being absorbed in your large intestine. Your actual digestion is going to happen in your small intestine. Our digestive tract, or our digestive system, does have accessory organs that help with chemical digestion. So we have a pancreas, which secretes enzymes that break down fats. And we also have our liver, which is our largest internal organ. You cut somebody open, the first thing you're going to see isn't their stomach, it's their liver. It's big, it's dark, it's the largest internal organ, and it secretes bile, which also helps digest fats. You'll find that they are hard to break down. That's why we need our pancreas and our liver. And stores a little bit of iron, which what gives it that very, very, very dark red color. So to review, we went through our 5 vocabulary words that are related to the digestive system. We talked about nutrients, nutrition, the gastrointestinal tract, and then ruminants and non-ruminant digestion. Those were our 5 vocabulary words for today. And we reviewed how the digestive system works. Your assignment for today is I would like all of you to create a model of both a swine and a cattle digestive tract. So I don't care how you do it. I don't care. These folks use paint, but I do want you to model and label both of these. So these are very close copies to the ones that are in this presentation. The presentation is copied to the assignment that is in Google Classroom. So you are welcome to use that as a reference, but I want you to create a model. 2 ways you can do that: on your iPads, if you want to draw them digitally, totally fine. If you want to draw them on a piece of paper and then take a picture and attach it to the assignment, also perfectly acceptable. So under week 32, which is where we are now, under assignment number 66, you have a copy of the presentation that we just went through and the instructions for this assignment. So that is what you are tasked with. I want you to save your nutrition vocabulary. You'll notice that it's not due till the end of the term because we are going to continue to add to that nutrition vocabulary as we move through this unit. So make sure that you're keeping up on that. Make sure that you get your models done. Get those turned in by tomorrow. For those of you who don't have school with us or new assignments or anything, you'll have a little bit of time to work on that today and tomorrow. But that is all that I have for today. So you've got about 20 minutes. You should be able to get those models done in that amount of time and get those turned in today. Does anyone have any questions? All right, then thank you very much. You've got copies of the presentation if you need to go back and reference it. Other than that, I expect to see models of both swine and cattle digestive tracts turned in by tomorrow. Hope you all have a great day. We'll talk to you later.